a hurricane hit a wind farm. Yeah, that'd be bad news. And then a tornado, they're too local. You can't predict where they are. And like, I don't know, you'd have to get like a wind turbine truck and drive it up to it, and that'd be stupid. So yeah, those things spin fast, but not in a helpful way. Okay, last two things. Water. We talked about water a whole bunch. With sea level rise. I'm going to focus mostly on California water. In California, really Southern California, for the last 20 years, we've been in a drought. The state government said, "Oh, drought's officially over because we got a lot of rain this year." But what if it's dry again next year? I would say our drought is not over; it's just continuing. And like if it's dry next year, it's not a new drought; it's the same old dry spell for 20 years. So the water that we get here, LA's water, comes from three main sources: aquifers, which is overall. Now, it differs depending on your city. Some cities get more water from aquifers, but it's probably about 10% of LA waters from different aquifers. And then for LA, like 70% of our water comes from the State Water Project or Northern California. Aqueduct. And then like 20% of it comes from the Colorado River. Or Colorado Aqueduct. Colorado River is pretty salty, so we don't get very much of our water from that, and San Diego uses most of it before it gets to us. So that's our water. Where does our water come from? Mostly Northern California. That aqueduct travels almost the whole length of or it's like half the length of the state. It's like 800 miles. And this system, the California Aqueduct, also generates a whole bunch of electricity, but it also uses most of that electricity to pump it over the LA Tehachapi Mountains. So that's our water situation. When we were in the drought years, everybody was pushing like consumers, or you all public consume less. Most of LA water, or most of California water, is actually used by agriculture. 80% is used by agriculture. Yeah. Yeah, like
not on a river or like in the middle of land, like Bakersfield.
How
did they get water? Did they have groundwater or did they have a river?
kind of the same way. So a little bit of groundwater. Bakersfield, so like inland, has a few rivers, but then they also get redirected aqueduct water. And so like the whole Central Valley, I don't have my California map here, but the aqueduct runs the length of the state. Along the way, the aqueduct feeds off into the valley, and that's where 80% of the water from the aqueduct goes into the different farms along the way in the valley, like Bakersfield. So most of it, yeah, is aqueduct water. Individual users, homes, use about 10% of the water. And then businesses and municipalities, business and government, uses the other 10. So when we're talking about water usage, yeah, you should not waste water. It's kind of dumb that we have lawns here, and that uses a lot of water. But agriculture uses way more water than us. Now, the other thing, the argument there is, okay, do we stop growing food here? California is the 5th largest economy in the world. We beat England. We have a bigger economy than England does. Thanks, Brexit. We've knocked us from 6 down to 5. And our agriculture is a big part of our 5th largest economy in the world. So, no, probably don't stop growing things. We also need food. Food's really important. So what do?
Change the way we farm.
Change the way we farm? Yeah, farm better. Use more water-efficient methods. Maybe change the foods that we farm to be choose less water-intensive foods. Questions? Okay. Last one, and we don't have any time to talk about it. It's food. The main thing I'll say with food is the world does not have a food shortage at all. If anything, we're over-farming. We have an overproduction in food resources. Instead of that, we actually have a distribution problem. Even though we produce too much food, we produce more than enough food for humans, there's still people that starve to death or are malnourished, fed all the time, everywhere, all over the world. So it's a food distribution issue. And how do you solve that? In money, yeah. Back to you guys. The United States alone, this is fun. The United States produces enough food to feed the whole world. Like we currently, today, this year, we always produce enough food to feed all people on Earth. Good job, us. We farm super efficiently. Like, that's amazing. We also throw away the average American household. The household, like your house, average American household, throws away 40% of its food. So when you go to the store, you buy a bunch of stuff, you throw away 40% of that. So as a country, we grow enough food to feed the world. And then, like, I'm not going to say we throw away 40% of it because we ship a bunch of that food all over. A bunch of it goes to restaurants, farms, different things. But the individual American throws away 40% of their purchased food. So that's a weird problem to have. What do we do about that?
Compost or feed our livestock?
Compost, feed our livestock. Yeah, make a whole bunch of farming changes. That's all our time. Yeah. So the gist out of this: don't be depressed. Be inspired. To realize that there are solvable problems here, and you're doing this part at least. Hopefully, you're using this part to attempt to solve some of these other problems. But no matter what your discipline is, art, marketing, engineering, economics, you could find some way to approach any of these problems. So go for it.